Ooh, the gym. My old stomping grounds. Hank Patterson, fly fishing guide.
Riley Smith, tight end.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Hey, you wouldn't happen to be the kicker?
No, tight end.
Again, thank you. I'm looking for a kicker for Lithia Ford's fall kickoff sale. But you're not the kicker.
No.
Yeah, nah, the kicker's probably taller and in a lot better shape. So, okay. What position do you play?
Tight end.
Squats. Yeah, try it sometime.
I may be retired, but I still have finances to manage. With direct deposit and automatic payments, ICCU makes it easy to spend less time banking and more time baking.
RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, is going all in this season with an all-star lineup. First up, he led the Broncos to 3 conference championships and 10 20-win seasons. It's Coach Leon Rice. Next, he's the founder and CEO of RowPaint.com. He played a little basketball in high school on the driveway with his mom. It's Andy Rowe.
Oh, no. Want to just paint my house?
Now that I can do. When I want Boise State to win, I trust Coach Rice to lead the Broncos to victory.
And when I want the best painting and garage floor coating, I trust RowPaint.com to get that job done right.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Today's broadcast is coming from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Cutwater Canned Cocktails is perfect for your next game day tailgate party. Now, here's four-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, Mike Prater, how we doing? Happy Monday here at Bronco Nation News Live. BJ Rains and Mike Prater with you. Mike, the best words you always enjoy hearing. I'm dealing with hotel Wi-Fi, so we'll let you know how it's going here, and hopefully we're good to go. But appreciate you for jumping on a Monday. Appreciate you for getting the column posted early this morning. If folks want to go on and read that, you wrote that last night about Spencer Danielson being named head coach at Boise State. We had an emergency show yesterday, late afternoon, about 45 minutes with yourself and John Mallory and I, and that aired live on KTIK radio as well as the BNN channels here. So I don't want to rehash that entire conversation. We'll try to look a little more at the game itself, which we didn't really talk about yesterday, and this team and how we got here, but certainly the news of the day yesterday, Mike Prater, and again, KTIK 95.3, The Ticket. You can hear him and John Mallory 3 to 6 weekdays. You'll hear them today. They'll be all over the press conference, which is at 11 a.m., and I believe KTIK and BNN planning to hopefully stream that live. But Mike Prater, the news from yesterday, you've had a little time to sleep on it, think about it. You wrote a column, Spencer Danielson, Boise State's permanent head coach.
I woke up this morning, BJ, and it's true. It really did happen. It wasn't just a figment of our imagination. Spencer Danielson is Boise State's new head coach, and not sure we saw this thing coming a few months ago, a few weeks ago, and maybe even a couple of days ago. But at the end of the day, as I wrote in the column for BNN that you published here just a few minutes ago, Jeremiah Dickey had no choice but to make this hire. It was an emotional hire, even though he said he wasn't going to make an emotional hire, but it was the right hire at the end of the day. Emotions can sometimes be good, and in this particular case, it's reunited a locker room, reunited a fan base, reunited a football team, and let's dive into some football because some of the shenanigans of this past season, it's getting a little tired. Let's talk some football, BJ.
So, I would love to do that. I'm looking for that, but I kind of want to just I'm not saying get it clear, but I mean, so are you overall in favor of this hire? Do you still wish they had gone outside? What is your general overall feeling of the hire here? Because you had for a long time, and it was nothing personal against Spencer Danielson. You just wanted to see them go outside the hire, spread their wings, try to find somebody else outside the family, so to speak. How do you feel now?
I mean, how could you not feel good about the hire? Yeah, and in the column I did mention, I still wanted an outside-the-family, offensive-oriented football coach. That would have been my preferred dream. But you know what? There was never a name attached to that. I used kind of a Lincoln Riley type as the model of what I was talking about. Certainly not Lincoln Riley, but some young, innovative, crazy, pass-happy football coach that has some experience. Boise State fans love offense. Boise State fans love creative offense, and it really makes a difference around. People buy tickets to go watch great Boise State offense, and I thought that was the meal ticket for the future as Jeremiah Dickey tries to plan for this CFP era in 2024 and 25. But come on, man, at the end of the day, it had to be Spencer Danielson. I've seen all kinds of hardcore crazies on social media, and that's probably redundant, hardcore crazies on social media, myself and you included, BJ, but they're doing a complete 180. Everybody is sold on Spencer. Not everybody. Most everybody is sold on Spencer Danielson. A guy like that with that kind of infectious drive, that kind of infectious passion, it's hard to turn it down. We saw that video yesterday of what the announcement was to these players. Everybody in this community felt the same way. At the end of the day, Jeremiah Dickey got it right. Spencer Danielson is the new head coach at Boise State.
I know how much you love Spencer. And I'm glad because he is your new head coach.
Here it is, Mike Prater. You see the video. Spencer Danielson named full-time head coach for Boise State. What a cool moment. Cool video. And That's pretty cool stuff there with Spencer Danielson. And I know we're dealing with hotel Wi-Fi, so if that didn't play for everybody, I apologize, but it was playing for me. So Spencer Danielson, you saw the video yesterday, Mike, and I'm looking forward to more videos here in the near future. They're going to be putting some videos up of the search and all that kind of stuff they talked about. I saw update on their website yesterday that they're going to be updating that with some more info. So I want to see that call. I want to see Spencer Danielson's interview last Sunday. I want to see when he got called into the office earlier in the day yesterday, told that he got the job. I want to see some more of the behind the scenes stuff. And I know that's probably coming. And I'm going to be curious who else interviewed for this, Mike. I mean, sometimes that leaks out, sometimes it doesn't. But just your thoughts, Mike, on I guess this whole process the last 3 weeks and how this led to Spencer Danielson. And I am curious what other interviews were and how serious a Kellen Moore type was. The plane to Montana, was that for Bronco Mendenhall, Brent Vegan? I mean, who else was in the mix here? I think it's going to be interesting when it all comes out, because that's what I said. I said I'm fine with Spencer Danielson. I want Spencer Danielson based on who the other candidates were. If there was Coach Pete, Kellen Moore, or Spencer Danielson, well, then he would have been the third choice. But if it was some other guys that were, maybe not as high on the list, some coordinators we had heard somewhere else, the Kirby Moore of the world, those kind of guys, I would have been fine with Spencer Danielson. So that's where my whole, Spencer Danielson candidacy came from, is I wanted to see who else they were going to interview. So I am very curious, I guess, where this goes, and if we get any information on who was seriously a finalist as part of this process.
Yeah, I would love to know that information. And I don't know if it'll come out officially or if we'll just start cobbling together bits and pieces. Certainly, like a Jeff Choate was in there. Jeff Choate wants to be a head coach. By the end of the afternoon today, Jeff Choate will be a head coach. He's expected to be announced as the head coach formally at the University of Nevada later on today, maybe this afternoon. I think there's a time, but I forgot what time it was. But Jeff Choate will become a new head coach in the Mountain West Conference, and certainly his name was leaked to Boise State. That's kind of who I thought was the front runner here, but based on my reporting and based on people I talked to, Jeff Choate and Jeremiah Dickey really didn't, and I know this probably dates back to the last interview process when they hired Andy Avalos. They're not really on the same page. I don't think they're completely, totally the same guy. Jeremiah Dickey's looking for kind of the spirit animal that really works well with him, and Jeff Choate is an aggressive, in-your-face guy, which is great. I love that as a coach, but maybe it's not for everybody. So I'm not sure how connected that Jeff Choate, Jeremiah Dickey was during this process, if at all. Kellen Moore, I would imagine that they talked, certainly a phone call, and Kellen Moore right now is kind of stuck in no man's land with the Chargers. They really stink what they won yesterday, 6-0. Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. But Kellen Moore, who's also being rumored for the Carolina Panthers job. Kellen Moore, please don't take that job. That's the worst job in the NFL with one of the worst, if not the worst owners in all of sports. Do not get tangled up in that mess, no matter what you do. And the Chris Peterson thing, that was just a fabrication. That was just a dream come true for somebody. I know he showed up at the Mountain West Championship game, Godfather-like figure up in the press box looking down upon his team. Guys, that was never going to happen.
Yeah, no. And by the way, somebody's asking why I'm still in Vegas. I wasn't going to address this, but I guess I'll just throw it out there. We've had a family trip planned for about 3 months for my kids to see a Blues game tonight against the Golden Knights, and literally was planned since like September, and the boys have been really excited about it. We bought new shirts, everything, and then it worked out that they were here for the Mountain West Championship Prater. We decided to come down a day early. The family got to go to the game. We were all excited for Monday, and then of course, the new coach event happens, and looked at change the flight and get back, but they're streaming it online, and I can cover it from here, and it stinks, but we'll have our intern there. We'll still have the full live stream today. And, I've talked to the folks that are going to be at the press conference. They understand, and it's not like I'm skipping out on it. I will have other than being able to see Mike Prater in person there and potentially ask a question, I'm going to be seeing all the questions, seeing it all, and I'll cover it remotely here in a couple of hours, and we'll have the full press conference, as I said, live. But, family is important to me, and getting a chance to go to the game with my kids tonight is going to be an exciting one. The teams are going in opposite directions. I'm not actually excited for what might happen in the game, but excited to go Mike Prater. So for Bronco Ray and some of these folks that are trying to take shots that I'm still in Vegas, family is important to me, and I can cover the press conference remotely, and I will be back tomorrow morning, and I'll be at the basketball game tomorrow night. And so, that's why I won't be there today, Mike Prater. Just, how it is in this business. I'm sure this has happened to you plenty of times where you've had family trips planned or things planned, and you're pulling over on the side of the road to write stories, or you're having to turn around. In this business, you cannot plan anything in advance, and I tried to surprise my kids with a trip to the Blues game, like literally in August or September. And here you go. It's one of the biggest days of the year in Boise State athletics, but I'm going to make both of them work here.
Are we going to bet on the hockey game tonight? If the Knights win, as I expect, by about 5 goals, you got to bring me back like a game day puck or something.
I will try. The boy, I told you, the first time I ever took Naismith to a game, Braden Shen flipped him a puck on the boards, actually here in Vegas during the warmups. It was great, but now every time they go to a game, they expect to get a puck. And so, it's a little easier on the road. There's not as many Blues fans tonight. So, we've tried to do that at a home game where there's, 50 million kids around the glass. But we're going to go early tonight and see if there, 2 cute kids down there in the front row can try to get one flipped up to them. But, we should talk off the air on that. But I think the Blues are big underdogs, so I might need some good odds on the your next month's salary or something here to try to make this game happen. But it is what it is. I'm going to cover it remotely. We are going to stream it live. My intern Jade Finch is going to be getting there bright and early to set up all the equipment. So nothing will be different on the BNN side. We'll have it covered. I'll have a story right afterwards. Just can't physically be there in person today. But, I'm a little disappointed, but I'm also not disappointed. Excited and happy to be here, get a couple of days with my family. It's been a crazy year here with football and basketball, and it's only going to get crazier. So that is why, yes, I am still at the hotel. But there is news to cover. And, Mike, I guess final thing on the Spencer Danielson front, I do want to turn the page here forward. I had some great video clips of Chip Kelly I wanted to play and all this, but my laptop for like the third time in the last 4 days has decided to kind of crap out on me here. So I don't know if I can get those in the system and play them. But just your thoughts on the coaching staff. I asked you this yesterday. A lot of folks in the chat are wondering about Bush Hamden, whether or not he's going to stay on board, what other changes there might be. Do you think, by and large, there's always a change or two, but do you think by and large this coaching staff looks very similar in 2024, or do you think there's a lot of wholesale changes here Spencer Danielson's going to make? Because it's his chance to bring in his staff, which some guys like to do, but also you feel it seems like there's some pretty good relationships among a lot of these coaches on the staff as well.
Yeah, I don't think coaching staff is his major priority other than maintaining. The coordinators are definitely a priority here. Bush Hamden is one of if Ashton Jeanty is priority number one, winning a bowl game, the recruiting class, all that kind of stuff is important. But Bush Hamden is very, very important. Bush Hamden may have been the MVP of this football team this year with the way that this offense gelled and certainly with the way it finished the season. His game against in the Mountain West Championship game was beautiful. It was a master performance of putting together a game plan and execution. And Spencer Danielson and Bush Hamden, to me, are a very powerful combination for Boise State football. So I hope Bush Hamden stays. I hope Spencer Danielson wants to keep him. I would give Bush Hamden, I don't know if he needs more money, maybe a little bit of a bump in pay, but give him a title. This dude told us last week he wants to be a head coach. He said, I'm ready. And he's not going to skip out and go be a head coach somewhere right now, I don't think. So give him an associate head coaching title, give him some responsibilities, maybe give him a little bump in salary, but more importantly, keep him on this football roster. And obviously Spencer Danielson's got to go off and hire a defensive coordinator. Now, is that a defensive coordinator that's a puppet? Because Spencer Danielson, is he going to continue to call the defense? Is he going to continue to call plays? Is he going to continue to be hands-on with this defense, or does he just want to be a head coach? Those are all the questions we'll ask in a press conference here in about an hour and 45 minutes on campus. So that's definitely what I want to know. After that, he may lose one or two, but I think for the most part, Spencer Danielson's going to keep this staff together. 40% lost after the first Avalos season. 40% of the coaching staff was lost last year after the Avalos season. Let's see if Boise State can come under that number this year.
Well, let's take a quick 90-second break, Mike, and then I want to ask you, today the transfer portal officially opens for everybody. It's already been open for Boise State, but I think now that there is clarity on Spencer Danielson being head coach, today's the day we thought, even Cheese Wright last night, Kevon Wright, the defensive end that didn't really get much traction here coming over from Boston College. I think today's the day we could start to see some guys that maybe pop in the portal. I know roster retention is a big thing for you with Spencer, and I think that we don't expect there to be wholesale changes like there might have been if some outside guy had come in. But I want to discuss that and also kind of this matchup with UCLA, the championship, and kind of spin this thing forward here. We'll do that in 90 seconds here on Bronco Nation News. All Bronco Nation News broadcasts come from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of pre-mix premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Cutwater Spirits, perfect for your next game day tailgate party. Our title sponsor is rowpaint.com. For all your commercial, industrial, residential painting needs, check out rowpaint.com. Don't forget about their concrete coatings. Transform that ugly concrete slab on your back patio in your garage in just one day. Contact rowpaint.com for a free estimate today. The official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics and our title sponsor at Bronco Nation News is rowpaint.com. Idaho Central Credit Union's been helping members achieve financial success for more than 80 years. There's an ICCU branch on almost every corner, but the closest is in your pocket with free eBranch mobile and online banking. See why more than 500,000 members love ICCU and join 1 in 4 Idahoans by making the switch today at ICCU.com. Since 1984, Ridley's Family Markets has prided itself on being a hometown food and drug store that employed value members of the local community. Ridley's Family Markets has 13 locations in the state of Idaho and many more in the surrounding states. Download the new Ridley's app to your smartphone, get savings up to 40% off at the checkout line, and find a location near you at shopridleys.com. Former Bronco Matt Bauscher is once again the number 1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley. No home is too big or too small for Matt and his team. Let them fulfill all your real estate needs at BauscherRealEstate.com. All right, Mike Prater, the 2 words that I think people have in their Twitter search, they're going to be following here in the near future, Ashton Jeanty, in terms of his future and what is happening with him. I guess kind of a multifaceted question here, but what are the chances Ashton Jeanty plays in the bowl game even? What are the chances Ashton Jeanty is back next season? And how does Spencer Danielson, a defensive guy, but a guy that a lot of people, seem to really like on both sides of the ball, how does him, returning as head coach play into this decision? And in the end, is it nothing more than money and there's nothing Boise State can do?
Boy, I spent way too much time over these last 12 hours thinking about Ashton Jeanty, writing that column last night, filing it for BNN this morning. Go check it out at BNN and all the places you can find the column. I spent a lot of time thinking about Ashton Jeanty. I wish I had answers to all of your questions. We can sit here and speculate. It's going to take money. It could take, I don't know if he's going to give Boise State a hometown discount, but somewhere between, a couple $100,000, maybe $500,000. He could probably go to a Power 5 program and get somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million cash, services, cars, pizzas, whatever that takes. And that's a big lull for a guy. But everything Ashton Jeanty has done since he came to Boise State, he's been a team player. He's done all the right things. He got hurt a month ago, as you know. He didn't have to finish the season. Are you kidding me? That dude, I thought when I saw him walking around that first practice with the knee brace on his right knee, hobbling around pretty much. And he was mostly hobbling around because he was trying to get used to the knee brace, not because the knee was still giving him problems. But that dude could have easily shut it down. And here he comes.
If Andy Avalos was still head coach, I was talking to Jay Tust about that. Sorry to cut you off in the press box, Mike, but I was talking to Jay in the press box during the game. If Andy Avalos was still the coach, I don't think it's a guarantee Ashton Jeanty does come back and finish the season.
I would probably, absolutely. We don't know that, but I would certainly put that on the table. You're not wrong for thinking that. And maybe he does come back for the togetherness of this locker room under Spencer Danielson. So the fact that he played gives me some hope that he likes it here. He says he likes it here. I know he's very, very close with Taylen Green. Those two won't make any kind of a mutual decision, I don't think. Taylen Green isn't as marketable as we once thought he was, but he could go somewhere and play. But it does come down to his happiness. It does come down to Ashton Jeanty's happiness. I challenged Jeremiah Dickey, now that he's got himself a football coach, in that column that I wrote just on BNN. Your number 1 priority right now, quickly and immediately. And I'm not talking about nickels and dimes from the community. I'm talking about talking to some of your big money boosters. You go out and raise millions of dollars for your North End project all the time. And Jeremiah Dickey can't give direct NIL money to the student athletes. But let's say, he's got there shaking hands with some dude who's going to give $1 million to the North End Zone project. Why don't we divert that one time only to the one-time rock star that's on this football team that can carry you into the CFP era so Boise State can make a run at a CFP invite? I don't want to see Liberty in a stinking bowl game next year. I don't want to see SMU in a stinking bowl game. Those are the kinds of bowl games that Boise State should be playing in, and Ashton Jeanty would have to be a big part of that. And keeping Ashton Jeanty means, unfortunately, whether you like it or not, guys, they're paying college football players right now. Ashton Jeanty needs at least a couple $100,000 to stay in Boise. Whether that's enough, I don't know.
Well, you can help things like Bronco Brew Coffee, Mike. I mean, they're a sponsor of ours, but they are also directly affiliated with this conversation. NIL, you literally buy a bag of coffee and like $3 goes directly to a student athlete. There's an QB1 fund, they call it, but it could be for a guy like Ashton Jeanty, essentially the star player at Boise State. They're building a fund. You click the QB1 fund at broncobrew.coffee when you go to buy your coffee, and like $3 from every bag goes directly into that fund, and they're going to give it as an NIL deal. And the math works out that they need 700 people is all they need. 700 people that already drink coffee. Just redirect your coffee funds to Bronco Brew Coffee. That's $98,000 over the course of a year, Mike. So I know it's, on the surface, a couple bucks a bag of coffee, but 700 people over the course of a year is $100,000, and that's a start. So we'll see if more companies and businesses step up like this. But Bronco Brew Coffee, BroncoBrew.coffee is one of the companies that's trying to help the NIL game. I know the Collective and Joe Nickel just started up, Mike, with a new monthly membership or a yearly membership that they're doing as well. So you can check that out. The Horseshoe Collective and Joe Nickel, they're doing some things. But we were there with Tommy Ahlquist, Mike, a month or two ago, and he kind of just talked about the differences with like a Utah and Salt Lake City and just the number of businesses and in this. I mean, do you think Boise has the boosters, has the businesses to be able to compete at the NIL game? Because that was one of the things that Tommy was kind of saying that maybe that they don't. They're kind of doing what they can, and it's. These businesses are trying, but what do you make? I guess it's easy to say, hey, we got to find him $500,000. But I mean, do you think there's enough businesses and boosters in town that can make that happen?
I don't know about immediately for Ashton Jeanty, and this has to happen like literally in the next week. Ashton Jeanty woke up this morning trying to make that decision, so it has to happen immediately. We can't sit here and wait for population growth. We can't sit here and wait for massive amounts of corporations to come into Boise or Idaho like they are in Salt Lake and Utah, which is what Tommy was referencing to. It's about the growth and the number of people and the number of businesses here. So that's going to take time. Will it help? Yeah. Are we seeing signs of it? Yeah. Is this Collective under Joe Nickel, and is this an NIL initiative under Jeremiah Dickey? Is it working? Yeah, but it's very slow. And you can take care of 95% of your roster, 99% of your roster based on what's happening now. I don't think there's a ton of players on this team, I don't know if it's good or bad, that are going to require millions of dollars to stay. A car, a piece of pizza, and a T-shirt or something like that. And Boise State's doing a lot of those types of things. So Ashton Jeanty is the first. He's the first one that's going to demand lots of cash with lots of zeros, and Jeremiah Dickey has to go off and figure that out. I think it's a deal that Jeremiah and Spencer need to broker themselves immediately, maybe with a one-time booster. Maybe 5 boosters each chip in $75,000 or whatever it is. The unfortunate part is you have to do that every single year. And where is that sustainable for a program like Boise State? It's a very tricky slope that is not good for college football, but whether we like it or not, that's the game, boys.
And I'm trying to find the timing here, but speaking of NIL deals and things, on Saturday, coming up on this Saturday, Taylen Green and Riley Smith and Paige Barsh are going to be at Liffey Ford of Boise, one of our sponsors, doing an autograph signing. Believe there's a chance the Mountain West Championship trophy might even be there as well. I am having trouble finding that, but I'll try to get it by the end of the show. If not, we'll for sure have it on all the social media channels. They had asked me to help push that here moving forward, but that's a cool opportunity on Saturday. And, Jim Sturk, Lithia Ford, they're providing cars for a couple of these guys, and there's other things that need to happen. I don't know if we can get a company that's going to go all Utah and give 85 cars to the 85 scholarship players, but what about Taylen Green? You mentioned he's not as marketable maybe as he was before, but I mean that may have, if that wasn't the game of his career, that was one of the games of his career. That he was the first Boise State quarterback I saw since 2014 to have 2 rushing touchdowns in a game. You look at there's been some ups, some downs. Obviously the pick 6 wasn't great, but overall I thought Taylen Green was nearly perfect. I mean, even the one throw to George Halani, couldn't have thrown it any better that George dropped. That would have been another 70-yard touchdown. He's been a polarizing figure, I think Taylen Green has, because of the 2 QB system, because I think partly the coaches brought this on with how they were so quick to bring in Maddox Madsen, and then you had that whole thing going back and forth, and players were picking one or the other, and everybody was sure that Taylen Green was going to be gone. Maddox Madsen, we don't know for sure, by the way, maybe you do, but we know he had knee surgery. We don't actually know what the injury was, if it was ACL or MCL or what his availability will be for the start of next season. But what are your thoughts on Taylen Green's future? I think at one point we all expected for sure he was gone. I had talked to some people close to him that said, depending on who the coach was, that wasn't necessarily the case. I don't know if he's a guy, like you said, that probably can't be demanding a lot of NIL money right now, but what do you make of, he probably just wants to play, and I don't know if he can get that assurance or not, but what do you make of Taylen Green and his chances of being on the roster next year?
I would assume, and I guess I'm just assuming, and we'll dive into this more and more and try to get behind the scenes, because they're going to say all the right things at today's press conference, but I would assume that Spencer Danielson and Taylen Green have a very good relationship. Bush Hamden and Taylen Green, I would assume they have a good relationship, but Bush Hamden, to me, off the during the season, just based on evidence, was kind of a Maddox Madsen guy, I thought. And I don't know how much Bush is going to – I'm not sure how much Taylen is going to carry that into the offseason. It seems like that they'd be on the same page, but it comes down to happiness and playing time. The playing time has been taken care of. Maddox Madsen's out of the equation. Maddox Madsen will not be involved with spring camp. I'd be shocked if he was. I don't think he'll be cleared to play until fall camp. Maybe at that point you can resurrect the coaching battle or the quarterback battle and go out there and have a competition to see who's going to be the best. But at this point, you kind of got to leave Taylen Green alone. I mean, if you're going to let him run the ship and be the face of this program in the offseason again, all the way up until August 1st, all of a sudden, if August 1st rolls around and camp starts and we have a 2-quarterback competition, that's going to bring up some ghosts that might scare Taylen Green. He's going to figure all this out over the next couple of weeks. I think he'll stay. I really do. But I really have no idea. That's a tough one for me.
Yeah, and by the way, I just did find this. It's noon to 4 on Saturday. I want to give them a plug. Noon to 4 on Saturday. You can meet them at Lithia Ford of Boise. Congratulate their athletes, Paige Barsh, Riley Smith, Taylen Green. Food trucks, giveaways, autographs. You can bring your BSU to get autographed. And as always, some fantastic deals on Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs. Again, that's this Saturday, noon to 4 out at Lithia Ford Boise if you want to go meet Taylen Green. I don't want to throw this scenario out there, Mike, but I mean, if Taylen Green had already decided he's gone and he wants to get in that portal today, you got C.J. Tiller and, Colt Fulton as quarterbacks for the bowl game against UCLA. I mean, you're really hoping he at least stays for the bowl game here.
Oh, I never even thought of that. Yeah, you're right. I'd be shocked if they didn't finish out this season. This football team seems really united right now. And I think they are going to finish out the season strong. UCLA is a complete, total dumpster fire. They've lost 3 of their last 4. They've lost their quarterback to the transfer portal. They've lost their defensive coordinator to USC. They've scored 7 points, and 10 points in those 3 losses. They had 34 in their only win against USC, which had no defense. And then all of a sudden, here comes USC stealing UCLA's defensive coordinator. So I think there's a really good opportunity for Boise State and Bush Hamdan and Taylen Green and Ashton Jeanty to go off and finish this thing strong. I kind of think that they're going to play the bowl game. The fact that it's in 13 days is important. There's no break here. Practice. There's no practice today. I think they're going to train and lift and watch some film this week. Coaches are going to be recruiting and everybody gets back together for this weekend. You really have to practice for 1 week, go to LA, play a football game, and then you can figure it out. To me, this football team is on the same page right now and will continue to be for 2 weeks. I don't expect any massive movement over these next 2 weeks, but we'll see.
And like you said, the back channelings are going on anyway. You can still be working on your next stop behind the scenes while finishing out this season anyway.
Yeah.
What do you make of Sky's comment? The minute they stopped the 2 QB system, they rattled off 3 straight wins in a Mountain West championship.
Well, I mean, there's some truth to that, but the night before Andy Avalos got fired, they scored 40. They won 42-14 or whatever that score was. So, the offense has been pretty damn good all year. The offense was getting a little bit better under the 2-quarterback system. It was just the optics and the visuals, and it made it so awkward. And treating the players the way they did, jerking them back and forth. I used the phrase in that column this morning, yo-yoed. I mean, Taylen Green got yo-yoed to death this offseason, back and forth, fluctuating all over the place. That's got to be frustrating. And that's where his mind has to figure out if he's comfortable with what happened, especially if it was Bush pulling the trigger on some of that stuff, and if that's going to be okay for him moving forward. But the 2-quarterback system, I don't think that solving that or ditching that and getting rid of that because Maddox Madsen got hurt is the reason why this football team was so successful down the end.
I do wonder, though, like what would have changed, if anything, if Maddox Madsen had stayed healthy, and then Andy Avalos had been fired and Bush had kind of been given a little more of his, discretion to make decisions like that. I mean, I know, I think you and Johnny believe that Bush is a Madsen guy, but we don't really know that. We don't know for sure kind of who was pulling the strings on the 2 QBs versus the 1 QB, and we'll never know. But I wonder. I remember when he got hurt, and Spencer didn't mean it this way, but he's like, we're all about Taylen Green right now, or Taylen Green's our guy. And I remember just that confidence. Like, I know it was because Madsen was hurt, but just like we're rolling with Taylen the rest of the year, and it's obviously worked out. But I wonder what would have happened if Madsen hadn't been hurt and how that would have shaken out. But
I agree with that, and I also think that Andy Avalos was a massive Maddox Madsen guy, and whether that trickled down into Bush Hamdan. And we can find out kind of how Bush Hamdan really feels about this. But yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think that whole thing started with Andy Avalos for sure.
What'd you make of the championship game? 7-7 game early. Boise State, the UNLV comes down with ease and scores, and you're thinking, okay, this secondary, we thought it might be an issue, and it is going to be. And then after it was 7-7, Boise State really got it going. You had the two big turnovers from the defense. The offense got going. I mentioned Taylen Green, the 70-yard touchdown run. They had you had the pick six, and that brings the game tied, I believe, or within 7. And then next thing you know, they pull out a flea flicker on the very next drive and take that for a touchdown to Austin Bolt. I mean, it was just crazy, Mike, being there. And we saw the video last night, and I wish I could have played it, but I don't know what's going on with my computer. The confetti falling and Boise State dancing and celebrating and wearing the shirts and on the field, and it was just a surreal feeling. And I don't know where this is going to rank for you in all your years covering Boise State football. It ain't a Fiesta Bowl game, as I said last night, but in terms of just the chaos and you go look, 5 wins, Mike. It's still tied for like the 3rd most in the history of Boise State football. I mean, this is still statistically one of the worst seasons in Boise State football history.
Yep.
But it ends with a conference championship and maybe a 9th win over a outgoing Pac-12 team in UCLA and SoFi Stadium. I mean, this is it's just been a crazy, crazy season.
That Mountain West Championship game was beautiful to watch. I mean, that was just Boise State football at its finest. It's okay that there was a little drama and a little intrigue early on in this game, and all of a sudden Boise State clicked. I think that's this roster togetherness that we've seen under Spencer Danielson, and it just really worked. The defense came alive. The offense came alive. Individual performances all over the place. It was really cool to watch Taylen Green working his craft like he did last year as the Mountain West Freshman of the Year. Certainly outplaying Jordan Mayava at UNLV, who's the reigning Mountain West Freshman of the Year. So that's a nice little bump for Taylen Green. It was really cool to watch. And the response around Spencer Danielson, we've seen that before. We saw that in Logan and just the rally. So it was a cool scene. I like the setting of this in an NFL stadium. It looks better than, I know it was half empty or whatever it was, but the television optics were cool. And the fact that they played this in a big-time environment, it just looks better. I want this game to be in Vegas every single year like the Mountain West Tournament. I'm not worried about UNLV football getting in there and having a home court advantage, a home field advantage. It didn't help them the other night, so that can be an issue. I thought it was really cool. And then here all of a sudden comes SoFi Stadium and another chance to play in an NFL stadium. It's really kind of a dream ending to a season. It really a 5-5 and going nowhere just 2 months ago.
Well, final thing, Mike, before I let you go, and I'm going to keep this thing going after I let you go, but I know you got to get ready for your show and stuff, and I'll read some comments and I'll talk to folks. But final thing that I have for you, just the 11 a.m. today, the press conference, we're going to hear from Spencer Danielson and Jeremiah Dickey, maybe Marlene Tromp, the president. It's going to be on the 6th floor of the Stuckel Sky Center there, so there'll be, I'm sure, some boosters and more university personnel there than a normal press conference. Again, I believe you guys are, at last check that I talked with JP, you guys are going to try to air that on KTIK. We're going to air that on the BNN channels as well at 11 a.m. What do you want to hear? What do you expect to hear? Any thoughts on the press conference today?
Yeah, I expect it to be a pomp and circumstance. That's what these are. I mean, will cheerleaders and the band and confetti and streamers and fans show up asking questions? These kinds of press conferences are really kind of difficult. You don't get a ton of substance, and they shouldn't. It's a celebration of a new coach who's going to show up in a suit and tie and stand behind the podium and thump it to death and just raise everybody's the hair on the back of their necks and do what Spencer Danielson's supposed to do as the new head coach. So it'll be that kind of a show. I'm not sure how much substance we're going to get out of it. I'm certainly curious as to what he's envisioning for Bush Hamdan, what he's envisioning for the defensive coordinator. You can't really get beyond that. I really don't care about breaking down UCLA at this point, breaking down Ashton Jeanty. I mean, if he stands up and said Ashton Jeanty is committed here, that'd be great. I don't expect that to happen, nor do I expect Spencer Danielson to have any answers to any questions about Ashton Jeanty. It might be too early right now, but the two coordinators, certainly for sure, and we're going to try to track that down, but it'll be a celebration more than a press conference, BJ.
Final thing, we've both requested the term sheet for Spencer Danielson. What are you expecting the deal to look like?
Let's go with what Andy Avalos got 5 years, and he was making $1.55 this year. He was getting a $75,000 raise every single year, which would have taken him up to roughly 1.7 and change in the final year of his contract. I think Spencer Danielson will get at least 4. I don't know if he'll get 5, maybe 5 years, and he'll probably start right about where Andy Avalos was, maybe a little bit less, 1.3, 1.4 area, and go up. But I don't think it'll be too much different than what Andy Avalos got.
Okay, well, we're looking forward. Well, we should have those terms, I think, before the press conference, hopefully, or at the press conference. And again, KTIK will stream it live. Bronco Nation News will stream it live as well. Mike, appreciate you as always. I'm going to keep this thing rolling. We're going to take a 90-second timeout. Go read Mike Prater's column, BroncoNationNews.com, his thoughts on Spencer Danielson. We're finally getting him. I was more on the Danielson train further back, so we're finally pushing Mike to the other side of it here a little bit. And you can read his thoughts on the hire at BroncoNationNews.com. Appreciate it, Mike. Appreciate it, JP. We're back in 90 seconds here on Bronco Nation News. Bronco Nation News is sponsored by Tommy Alquist and Ball Ventures Alquist, Idaho's premier commercial real estate development company. BVA projects specialize in office, retail, flex, medical, and industrial spaces located at some of the most strategic and visible locations in the valley. Need a developer? Looking for new space? Think BVA. At BVA, we are Idaho's developer. The Nicolason family and SON management have proudly been operating Taco Bell restaurants in and around the Treasure Valley since 1969. One of the first to make a 7-figure donation to the Lyle Smith Society, they've also stepped up their support of Boise State athletics with the Taco Bell men's and women's basketball endowed scholarships. The Nicolason family and SON management have committed at least $310,000 by 2026. Get more information on their financial support of Boise State athletics and find information on applying to work at Taco Bell at TacoBellWorks.com. Lithia Ford of Boise is a proud supporter of Boise State Athletics and the official car and truck of the Broncos. Lithia Ford of Boise supports Bronco student athletes through NIL deals, including providing Ford vehicles to Taylen Green and Riley Smith from the football team and Paige Barsh from the volleyball team. Rain's family purchased our F-150 from Lithia Ford. Couldn't be happier with the purchase. Check out the all-electric F-150 Lightning or the electric Mustang Mach-E at Lithia Ford, and make sure to check out their full inventory of vehicles at LithiaFordBoise.com. The Blue and Orange Store is the perfect spot to get all your gear for your next Bronco game. The Blue and Orange Store has official Nike apparel, including jerseys, shirts, sweatshirts, jackets, hats, and more. Wear what the Broncos wear and get it at the Blue and Orange Store, the second floor of the Boise Town Square Mall, or get free shipping on a $40 order online at theblueandorangestore.com. All right, we're back here on Bronco Nation News Live. We got a couple more minutes for some of your comments, your questions. What if Madsen transfers? Somebody's wondering here. Not sure what's going to happen with that. And again, we need to find out some clarity on what his injury is. And I don't want to paint this picture, but like I said, if Taylen Green has already decided he's transferring and wants to get his name in there right away and doesn't want to play in this bowl game, you're going to have Colt Fulton or C.J. Tiller at quarterback in the bowl game. So that could certainly be something you're going to be paying attention to if you're a Boise State fan. But I still can't believe we're sitting here. We're talking Spencer Danielson, head coach. We're talking Mountain West Championship. And by the way, tomorrow night, the basketball game against North Texas, that's a pretty big game. And I was going to play a clip from Leon Rice, but as I said, I apologize. I'm having some computer issues here and not able to play the video. But tomorrow night, North Texas, a pretty big game for the Boise State basketball team. Spencer Danielson will be honored. I believe he's going to speak to the crowd. So if you want to see Spencer Danielson and try to get a chance to congratulate him, he will be at the game tomorrow night against North Texas, and they're offering 2 tickets for $12. 2 tickets for $12 to the North Texas game tomorrow night. North Texas is top 75 in the Ken Pom ranking. This is a very good team, one of the best defensive teams in the country. So if you want to, keep this momentum rolling for Boise State, come see Spencer Danielson tomorrow. Come see a really high-level, good basketball team. The Broncos coming off that St. Mary's win. Come help them against North Texas tomorrow night. 2 tickets for $12 at broncosports.com. The code is all over social media and stuff. You can check that out. But again, Spencer Danielson will be at the basketball game tomorrow night. That should be pretty cool. Logan says, heck yeah, I'll be there. Basketball team is different at home. I see a big win versus North Texas. Yeah, we'll see how that goes tomorrow. Breezy did not seem too hyped about coming back. Why would he if both Jeanty and Helani are back? I don't expect Jeanty and Helani to both be back. I think for sure one of them is gone, and I think that there's a decent chance that both of them are probably gone too. I mean, I don't see why George Helani would come back. Even if Ashton Jeanty leaves, I don't think George Helani wants a 6th year of college, folks. He's been here. He's been through a lot. College is just, it's a tough grind in the off season and all the weight training and 6 a.m. workouts on Mondays and all that stuff. I just don't know if that's something that George Helani wants to do for another year. So yes, someone says Helani still has eligibility. Yes, he actually has 1 year left. And so, but I don't expect him to come back on that. So it's either Jeanty or it's going to be Dubar, and they're going to have to hit that transfer portal, I think, for some running backs. Yes, North Texas did win the NIT championship last season. That is correct. They did lose their coach and they lost their best player, but they still have a solid team. And again, they're top 75 at KenPom, and that should be a solid game tomorrow. If he wants to play in the NFL, he comes back. I don't know. Do you? Do our 6-year college running backs that marketable next year in the NFL? You only have so much tread on those tires. I don't know. I don't know about that. So North Texas game tomorrow going to be fire. So yeah, let's get a big crowd out there tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Let's see here. BNN's plan for the LA get together. We're working on that. We're going to maybe try to get something the night before the game on Friday, but we really need to work. We got to work on that and see what's around. And LA is obviously a pretty big place, so we'll see if there's something near the stadium we can try to get together. But if we're able to do something the night before the game, we're certainly going to try. No doubt about it for that. Let's see. Does DeMario Warren get let go, you think? Who knows? I mean, I know that there were some issues earlier in the season on special teams and on at corner, but I think some of those got fixed as the season went on. I thought they got better in those areas. And, Jonah Dalmas and James Ferguson Reynolds also, I think he deserves a little credit for that. He's a special teams coach, so you can't just look at the negatives. UCLA has the most talented roster outside of UW that Boise State has played this season. We'll see if they have a full roster during the bowl game. Doubtful. I like the +2.5 for Boise. You never know at those schools, and they've had this game 2 times. The Mountain West has won both versions of that game. So the top Mountain West team going against the middle of the road Pac-12 team has benefited the Mountain West more times than not, whether it be in this game or in the Vegas Bowl. So we'll see on that. Flights from Boise to LAX are an all-time shakedown. It doesn't surprise me. Let's see. John Reagan wants to know if Jerry Kill got an interview. I don't know if he did or not. We'll see. Let's see what else we got here. Don't get the vibe Taylen will transfer. I think he's a committed guy. Yeah, that certainly would be nice to see. Well, we're going to get ready. I need to help Jaden Finch. We're setting up the live stream for the press conference with Spencer Danielson and Jeremiah Dickey. It's in a new location, so I got to walk my intern Jaden Finch through how to do that. I'll be helping run it from here, and we'll have the comments going. So just come back in about an hour and 15 minutes. It starts at 11 a.m., and we'll have this same setup going. You guys can chat about the press conference. You can chat about what you're hearing. I'll be chatting with you guys as well. And so 11 a.m., the press conference of Jeremiah Dickey introducing Spencer Danielson as Boise State's new head coach. It's coming up in an hour and 15 minutes on the Bronco Nation News channels, and we will have that for you at 11 a.m. Come on back. We appreciate you guys. Thanks again. We are in the Cutwater Mobile Studios. More than 30 flavors of premix premium cocktails. You can pick one up at your local gas station or grocery store. And, of course, we appreciate our title sponsor, rowpaint.com. All your painting needs, residential, commercial, industrial, even if you just need to touch up the siding on the outside of your house. If you want that concrete coating in the backyard, back patio, garage, basement, they can do it all. Check them out, roepaint.com. And we appreciate you guys. Thanks for checking us out. I'm going to help get ready for the live stream now, and we will talk to you guys at 11 a.m. Probably get the stream going about 10:50, 10:55, so we're ready to go. And we'll have the press conference for you live at 11 a.m. of Spencer Danielson being introduced as Boise State's head coach. Come on back in about an hour. We'll talk to you soon, folks. Bronco Nation News Live, BroncoNationNews.com.